all low carbers, to all fasters, to all followers of our channels. You may be viewing this in my page. This is yours truly, Dr. Josephine Grace Chua Rojo, or you may also watch this via Global TV Network, and of course our newest channel, Youth TV Network. So I'm glad that you are here with me. I hope you will be able to learn from today's topic. This is very important. It is something that may not be discussed well in most of health topics because it may not be as basic as it sounds, but it is something that is important so that we will know what to do with it. So as you can see, we will learn again another episode of Health and Wellness for Less, meaning achieving natural health, achieving natural wellness without any additional cost, just the natural way of life. So I hope you are ready. If you are here watching, kindly post in your name and say hi to our audience, say hi to each and everyone. Let us know that you are here so that we can share this with the rest of our followers and our groups. If you have any questions, if you have anything in mind, even if it is off topic, we will do our best to answer them. So right now, we are gonna talk about, actually, this episode, January 11, 2021. It is already Monday, another second week of this year. I hope you are all doing well. Our topic is suggested by one of our followers because it has been bugging him for quite some time, and finally we will shed light on this topic. So this topic is about alkaline water. So I know a lot of you may have heard about alkaline water or alkaline water. They may say that it has a lot of health benefits, that it's something that encounters the acidity in our body. So we will tackle how true this is, how important this is, or does it really have enough scientific basis. And of course, upon talking about alkaline water, it is of course given that we will talk about the normal homeostasis in our body. So what does homeostasis mean? So homeostasis is simply just balance. So it's just a medical something like complicated or a complex term to say the natural balance in our body. So there is what we call an acid-base balance or acid-base homeostasis in our body, wherein our body maintains a normal pH or a normal acidity or a normal alkalinity. Okay, so there is what we call a normal pH. So if you can guess, kindly put in the comment section the normal pH of the human body. If you can guess that, so it's a bragging right for you. And of course, I will be very, very glad to know that you are there and knowing the answer. And of course, that you also have a little, at least, of scientific background when it comes to scientific background when it comes to normal pH in our body. So a little clue, maybe you can find it in many products. They usually put it there to consider that it is something, since it's of the same pH in our body, it is something that is good for us. But how true is this? How important is this? Or is it really something that we need? Or our body can really adapt into acidic or alkaline food products? And what are the food products that can cause acidity in the body? What are the food products that can cause a lot of alkalinity in the body? So we will tackle all of that. So before we proceed, I would like to say hi to EJ, of course, first one to comment, and Mar Vincent Jambrich. Thank you so much. Hello to everyone. Thank you for watching. Cyril Cabal, hi. I'm so glad that you're here. And of course, my dearest brother, Andrew Kichua Rojo, watching from Russia with love. I'm so glad that you were able to watch this live episode. So my brother, I'm very, very proud of him. He is a seafarer, he's an engineer, and seldom he can catch this video live. So I would like to say hi, of course, to my brother and all the crew of MV Puma Max. 7, pH 7, yes, somewhere in there. But specifically, Mar Vincent was able to answer this, 7.35 to 7.45. So that is true. So whenever we talk about pH in the body, we are just talking about normal pH in terms of our blood pH. But actually, each part of our body can have different pH. In fact, our stomach can have a very, very acidic pH up to 1 point something, 1.3 to about 2. So the lower the number, the higher the acidity. The higher the number, the higher the alkalinity. So it's a range of pH levels or pH values. So 7 is somewhat what we consider as neutral pH. So 7, and our body, as what Vincent said, it's 7.35 or to 7.45. So if you know that product for women, of course, for women's hygiene, you can see there that it's labeled there. I think it's 7.4. So it's really midway between that range. So Princess, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Ryan, of course, thank you so much for being present. M. Sanchez, thank you for being here. Sharon Roldan, the pH of the human body ranges from 7.35 to 7.5 with an average of 7.4. Yes, that is correct. Thank you so much. And normal pH again can differ depending on which part of the body. So, as you know, I think I've mentioned it before, I'm actually very fond of eating acidic food. The sour taste of vinegar, the sour taste of lemon, of calamansi, of what else? What else do you have? Kamyas. Kamyas. I love kamyas. And if you're living here in Negros, you will know that there's that one seed that we use with our cooking. It's called batuan. So batuan is also the one that makes our dishes here very savory and very sour, and it's a different kind of sour, and it's something that I like so much. And sometimes people ask me, they worry if I'm eating too much acid, is it gonna damage my stomach? Is it gonna cause ulcer to my stomach? And what I tell them, actually the acidity of these things, even that vinegar can have acidity of 3 to 4, but the acidity of our stomach lining, our stomach, whenever there's food in there, can produce acid as low as 1.5 to 2 to 2.5. That's how acidic our stomach is. But as long as the lining is intact, as long as you have no inflammation in your body, you're not abusing yourself with taking in over-the-counter pain relievers, the groups of NSAIDs or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, your lining will be intact and your body will just respond to it. So we will talk more about that, how our body responds whenever we take in something alkaline or something acidic. Does it disrupts the homeostasis or the balance of our internal pH? Or can we adjust this? Can our body accommodate this in such a way that it will not have that long-lasting effect? So, as we continue, hello Sir Ronnie, thank you so much. Yes, there's a little Q&A, and I'm so glad that a lot of you responded. Maybe I've been, of all my live episodes, I usually tell you that should you have any questions, you may feel free to post them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them. But this time, I've got a lot of answers from asking questions, so maybe we will do that, no? I will try to come up with questions next time, and we will see if you can answer. So thank you so much for participating with that. WebMD joined the group. You're so funny, Sir Ronnie. Lenny Gapud Gerna, hello, thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon, Gemma Arroyo Bayog, hello, thank you so much for being here. And we will discuss, and we shall proceed with our topic for today, which is about alkaline water and acid-base balance. So, alkaline water. So it has been a fad. Most products of water producers, mineral waters, distilled waters, we have purified water, we have spring mineral water, we also have Alps water, yung coming from the Alps of whichever snow-capped mountain in Europe or somewhere in the cold countries. There are a lot of waters, but right now there has been a fad. I think it's just occurred a couple of years ago, especially here in the Philippines, the advent of alkaline water. It's usually covered with red coverage or red bottle packaging, and it will have a very large name saying alkaline water. So what actually will happen? What will happen with our body whenever we take this? Do we really need this to neutralize the acidity in our body? Do we need to do it externally? So to answer that, we will still go back again with our evolution. With our evolution, there is no such thing as alkaline water. In fact, our water has been on neutral pH since forever. The usual source of water of our ancestors and the majority of the world is just coming from streams, from freshwater sources, and for others, evaporated rainwater. So rainwater, and then you try to evaporate it, and then you extract, you condense that water, and then what you can get is actually pure water. And it's not acidic or alkaline, but it is usually of normal pH level. So alkaline water is just a fad because we realized lately that there are actually foods that causing our body to become acidic, okay? But that acidity cannot be seen in our stomach. It is something that can be seen in our bloodstream or at the molecular level of the cell. So it's something that you cannot see, but it is something that might be seen. It is usually a byproduct of too much glycolysis. You know already what's glycolysis, but for those who are first-time watchers, glycolysis is simply the biochemical reaction that is called the main, what we call this, it's like a monetary exchange for our body that it recognizes as a form of energy. So it's actually on the process of ATP. So and a part of that, whenever that is happening, there is a acidic compound that is being released, and that is pyruvate. And if you don't have oxygen with it, it can be anaerobic glycolysis, meaning glycolysis can occur both ways, with oxygen present and without oxygen present, and both can release acidic compound, but more so if it's anaerobic glycolysis, because it will produce lactic acid, and that lactic acid can be very inflammatory. It is something that is not sustainable for life, for good. It shouldn't be that much level. That's why there are other mechanisms that promotes lactic acid production that damages the human body, that damages the living cell, and that occurs when there is a tumor. Like tumor cells can produce ATP, can produce energy from glucose even without oxygen through the process of anaerobic glycolysis, and it produces a lot of lactic acid, and that lactic acid will protect the environment of that tumor cells, and that alone can be very damaging. So lactic acid supposedly shouldn't be as high, and our body has evolved in such a way that it has a what we call as buffer system. It will buffer any excess acidity so that it will come to neutralize it. But before we talk about tumors and all that, it is important that we know how our body processes it. So alkaline water, based on studies actually, it's all very contradicting. There is no evidence that it is really something that will promote neutralization of acidity in the human body. If it has benefit, it can only be seen upon neutralizing the acid that is only in the stomach. But it doesn't mean that that kind of alkalinity can be retained towards absorption of the system. So if you know, acidity and alkaline or base, when you talk about it on medical terms, alkaline or basic substances can be neutralized with acidic substances. Whenever you take them in and your stomach is neutrally acidic, the moment you take them in, it will neutralize. So for some who already has like ulcers in their stomach or gastritis, So there's already a breakage in the lining of their stomach, who has been on constant, like some sort of hunger pang sensation. They feel like they're always hungry. They feel like their stomach has ulcers because of acid secretions. They can benefit from alkaline water. The moment they take them in, actually they can offer, or they can feel instant relief, simply because the acid that is irritating the stomach lining that has been damaged by the inflammation caused by poor lifestyle, which includes stress, includes high carbohydrate diet, very inflammatory foods, and intake of over-the-counter pain relievers, can lead to chronic stomach pain. And that stomach pain can be due to the acid irritating those lining that already has scratches, sort of scratches, minor ulcers, or what we call as gastritis or stomach ulcers. So those are the kind. But other than that, our body will just absorb the water in it, but the alkalinity will actually not get retained into our system, like deliver it in our lungs, in our kidneys, in our brain. There's no evidence that it will retain that way, because our body has buffer system that it will maintain the normal acidity in the body. If you've taken something alkaline, your body will produce something acidic to neutralize it. If you have taken it in excess and your body cannot produce enough acid or hydrogen plus hydrogen molecule that will neutralize the alkalinity, or if there is excess acidity, your body can produce acidic urine. Okay, so urine is, or our kidneys is the major acid-base balancer in our system. So it is in charge of balancing the acid and alkalinity in our body. But in addition to that, our lungs can also promote acid-base homeostasis through breathing. So we might exhale a little acidic air and sometimes a little more alkaline air, depending on what we have in our body, in order to neutralize it. But of course, the science behind alkaline water is not yet that well studied yet. There's no direct evidence saying that we should go against it. So we are still open for new discoveries, for new possible pathways. But with what we know, with the basic biochemistry that we know, our body is so good at keeping the acid-base balance in our system. And as per what they say as diabetics, sometimes they say diabetics has, as they say, they have a lot of acidity in them, but it will have something to do with the blood flow in those systems. Because as you know, those who are diabetics will have jeopardized arteries and blood flow. Okay, diabetics, and for especially those who are smoking, are very prone to what we call as PAD, or peripheral arterial disease, wherein the arteries and veins are already not that good when it comes to integrity. So the blood flow is not really that good. So there will be parts of that system, of that organ, that will not have enough blood supply. And when there is not much enough blood supply, there will also be not much enough oxygen. And as we discussed a while ago, oxygen is very necessary for glycolysis, for aerobic glycolysis, and for breaking down of these materials, of these energy, and of these food products, glucose mainly, into ATP. And that is also one of the reasons why we promote low carb lifestyle or low carb diet, because with low carb diet you won't be dependent on glucose as your source of energy. When you can get your energy in a cleaner way without an acidic byproduct through the process of lipolysis. So lipolysis will use up the fats in our body, the adipose tissue, and by its name, the fatty acids in our body. So fatty acids is just a term used as the primary building block that makes up our fats in our body, and that fatty acid can be broken down and can release enough ATP, enough energy that we need without the byproduct of acidic compounds that can lead to acidity that can damage the cells. So when the environment is excreting too much lactic acid, it can be somewhat toxic on that part of the body only. And you can see this mainly for people who are suffering with diabetes, who have chronic insulin resistance, because they have been very, very dependent with glucose as their only source of energy. And as what we always talk about, between glucose and fats, both of them can actually produce ATP, but both of them will have different pathway, and glucose will have a lot of garbage. It will leave you a lot of garbage. It will leave you a lot of residual effects as compared to fatty acids or adipose tissue or fats. We can call them fats for us to easily call them. So with fats, it's like a cleaner source of energy, just like in cars. So we can have diesel and gasoline, and we know gasoline is a much cleaner source. And if you compare them with fats and glucose, actually glucose is not just diesel. It's actually like coal. Burning coal can give you a certain amount of energy, but it will leave you a lot of garbage, a lot of residual carbon leftovers. Whereas if you use like nuclear energy, you will only need a little, but it will give you a very, very large energy effect as compared to coal. Yet the environmental effect, the residual effect, will be much, much less. It is a very, very easy, very, very clean source of energy. That is why we promote low carbohydrate lifestyle with all of these. And this is like, there is a lot of complicated biochemistry that will gonna take place between these steps, but I don't think you'd like to know them each and everything on them. If you want, I can give you a copy of our biochemistry book if you want to read it yourself, but that is somewhat a source of summary. So I hope you are there, and I hope you got something from that short explanation on why alkaline water may be effective for immediate relief of like hyperacidity that you can feel, but you cannot expect it to really neutralize the acidity that's already beyond your stomach, that is already in your overall system. So acid-base balance, acid-base homeostasis in the body is maintained internally, more often through our urine and through our breathing, and even through our sweating. So before we proceed, we would like to say hi to others who came in and who are already here with us. So I would like to say hi to Irene. Good afternoon. Sinjan, thank you so much for being here. Meziel Equalan, hello. Happy watching from Laguna. Hello. I'm so glad you're there. Sir John and Tag Rhea Salamanca. Emdeline Sanchez, yes, I'm so glad that you are here and you were able to catch our live episode. Kathy Vertudes, of course, always present. Thank you so much. Juliet Giritan Mendoza. And who else? Sharon. Doc, are you familiar with those so-called alkaline pots flask in market nowadays? And of course, Miss Melanie, first day again, EF. Thank you so much for watching. I hope your EF is doing okay. I actually plan on doing EF also as well, but I don't know. I feel hungry today, but I'm already glad. I've already, last meal intake yesterday was 2 o'clock, so it's 6 o'clock, so at least I already have 30 hours. Is that right? 24 plus, 28 hours. 28 hours of fasting right now. But before starting the show, I already broke my dry fast with some water because, I'll be talking for the next hour and I don't wanna exhaust my throat and will make it dry and risk myself getting pharyngitis or sore throat. And of course, my dearest mother, Julimar, who really feels I'm very, very pretty to her eyes, and I will acknowledge that. Thank you so much. I love you so much, Maming Koy. I'll see you in a short while. So those are the basics of our alkaline water. And as per alkaline pot and flask, I'm not really familiar, but I'm so sure that they are actually trying to sell this through using the same concept, meaning that because they say that our diet is mostly making us acidic, it can neutralize that. And right now, I will tell you what are the top 6 foods that are considered as highly acidic. So the first one would be soft drinks. So soft drinks, as per Healthline, it's loaded with phosphoric acid, a major contributor to acid load of Western diets. So these alkaline solutions, as alkaline stuff that they're selling in the market, are actually somewhat there to counter the lifestyle that we have. But my stand on this is that why do we need to adjust and keep on adding certain things that we don't need when we can just remove the things that are already damaging us? So for this, soft drinks is one of the number one highly acidic food products. And instead of buying something alkaline to counter that, given that it's really effective, why not just remove the soft drinks in your diet? Because all of these products, the alkaline water, the alkaline pot, the alkaline what else? So alkaline flask, and all those others materials that says promoting alkalinity in our body, is selling it under the idea that we are consuming the normal diet, the standard diet of just eating whatever is there, of not minding what will you eat, and just eat what is available, what is readily available, what is pleasurable in the mouth, without taking into consideration its health effect. But if you are here watching this for the first time, I will tell you that us here in our family, in our homes, right now, I'm here in my clinic, and most of the live viewers right now has been in low carb eating and have been fasting for months, for some for years, or some for just a few weeks because it's the first time that they did fasting. And all of them, I myself can attest that you don't need these extra new discovery, new stuff to make yourself healthy. When you are eating it the right way, when you are fasting, whenever you need to fast, you don't need this extra expenses. You don't need to buy extra stuff just to neutralize what the junk that you ate. It just works like medicine. If you keep on putting insult to your body, causing your body to have diabetes, to have high blood pressure, to have soaring up high cholesterol, and having migraine, chronic headache, chronic back pain, you will need medicine in order to counter that. But if only you recognize that those illnesses, those acidity are just caused by the wrong foods that you ate, you will easily see that as soon as you save from the food that you've been eating as junk, you can automatically save so much more from the medicines that you could have been taken for the extra expenses that you might be having, just like these alkaline products. So I am not actually very familiar with any of them. I don't have any affiliation with them, and I even don't have any personal grudge with them. I know they're just doing their best to market. And of course, if you would like to continue taking in your balanced diet, your usual diet, you still would like to continue taking your favorite soft drinks, you'd like to drink them 3 times a day, And of course, as what we know now, having its very high phosphorus content can actually really lead you to an abnormally elevated acidity in your body that your kidney might not be able to compensate, or if your kidney will do its best to compensate for it, it can lead to kidney damage. So if you think you can't let go of your soft drinks, then by all means, you can take all those alkaline pots, alkaline water, and alkaline flasks, so that hopefully maybe it can counter that effect. But as to my side, as to my stand on it, I'd rather go for natural. I would just try to drink water. And as I told you, once you've tried trying out dry fasting, that is deliberately depriving yourself of anything, including water, you will appreciate cold water, just like what I have here. So for me, cold water now is already like a treat because I've been dry fasting since yesterday. So drinking water is already so pleasurable for me that I wouldn't need anything else. From time to time, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, I can try to sip a glass of cola, and I can no longer take it. I cannot imagine myself before that we've been drinking cola since we were young. We even buy them in cases, and other people thought we were selling one, but we actually don't sell them. We just buy them in stock, and because my mom used to believe, and we believe, that the freshest kind of colas, the yummiest kind of soft drinks, are the ones in small bottles. So that's why we used to store them in cases, in small bottles, and we buy it just like what you can buy in retail stores. But that is long gone, and we couldn't remember the last time we ever bought intentionally soft drinks as a treat or as an everyday use. So right now, water is already a treat for me. So that's my stand whenever about alkaline water and alkaline substances. So we already have the first number one acidic food, that is soft drinks. So Ash Merkley, hello, thank you so much for watching. Hello to all Camelot ladies there. Sumaya, just want to say hello to lovely Doc. Replay later. Okay, of course, feel free to replay. And thank you so much to EJ and the staff of Global TV Network for helping me with my YouTube channel. So hopefully sooner or later, all of the videos that we've made since we started, all of them are now readily accessible and is easier to access in my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and let your other friends and family watch it also. Even if you just play it on the background, that is already a good thing. At least even just 5% of what we are talking about here can have a little retention for them. So Amabel, thank you so much, as always present. Thank you so much. And Lizelle Max, thank you so much for always being here. So the next highly acidic food that we have are considered as red meat and other animal proteins, and because they increase the dietary acid loads. So they are the most prevalent acid producing foods, and other proteins can also include too high acidic load. But again, this list is under the premise that it is being taken together with carbohydrates, because proteins alone, especially if not taken in excess, is something that is necessary and is something that we take in normally as hunters and gatherers, as cavemen. And as long as you take them with the right amount of fats on the side and with limited carbohydrates, you can accommodate so much protein. And of course, what we always say, you can eat them. You can eat them, and they might be healthy, they may not be very healthy, but you can maximize their effects. They can only be good for you if you don't eat them all day, every day, 3 times a day, every day for the next year. Because, as what we always say, it is really not normal for humans to eat every day. There should be an incorporation of fasting. You may not be able to do a whole 3 days, a whole 5 days like some of you here, but at least you can do intermittent fasting. If you can't do extended fasting, at least limit your intake to, say, for example, maximum of 2 meals in a day. And if you can do OMAD, or 1 meal a day, and then slowly you can transition. You can give yourself the gift of allowing it, giving it time to heal, giving it time to accommodate certain repairs in the body, to give time to consume the excess fats that we've been trying to keep for decades already. That alone can do so much to your health. You may not do it regularly, you may not do it every month. At least once every year you can do a 48 to 36 hours fasting. And if you later on, you can move to twice a year or even once every quarter. But the fact is, it is just not sustainable for one person to eat 3 meals a day at minimum, 3 times a day for the next 365 days a year, all throughout the year. That is just simply too much. As for us, who have been used to eating OMAD or TMAD and even extended fasting, actually doing OMAD and TMAD or two meals a day for a whole week, it already feels like too much. So once you are used to it, it is something that your body will really look forward to having. The feel of fasting, the feel of an empty stomach, the feel of a light feeling, how light your body feels, and of course how clean you feels, because there's no other way, there's no better way to do some detoxification than just abstinence from the food and certain drinks that you eat. If you cannot do dry fasting, at least do water fasting, plain water only fasting, at least for 24 hours. You won't have any side effect except for the sugar withdrawal, some headache, maybe some palpitations when you've been into high carb diet prior. But as you go along, your body can adapt to it. But what our body cannot adapt to is the elevated blood sugar, elevated insulin that's been caused by our diet. So red meat and other animal proteins, especially if it's processed meat and those meats that are produced in farms, not really grass-fed animals, so they can have a lot of chemicals, and as what we know, they may not that be the best option for you. But for me, since grass-fed animals, grass-fed meat products is quite rare, and logistically speaking, it may not be available, so it's really not sustainable unless, of course, we become farmers ourselves, or we have our own farms that we raise our own food produce, and it might take a long time before we reach that. But as for now, I think we can accommodate a little red meat, some red meat. But of course, we have to consider that the amount of proteins that we need is actually not that much. That is just 1 pound or 1 gram of meat, of proteins per kilogram of body weight. So if you are a 70 kilogram man, you just need about 70 to maximum maybe 100 grams of protein. So if you can imagine 1 kilogram of proteins, you divide it into 10 slices. So just 1 slice of that. So if you are cooking, the one cooking in your home, just try to imagine how much you cook. Like, for example, if you cook a kilo of beef in your home, how many of you divides it? So if there's just 5 of you, so that's approximately 200 grams per person. And actually, that is already too much when it comes to protein load. And the excess protein, especially if you take it together with carbohydrates, can be converted into glucose, and eventually can also be converted into fats if you are not moving too much, if you are not doing some physical activity or mental activity that will make you consume them more than what you need. Okay? And next, food is processed grains. So processed grains, especially baked goods, fast foods, white bread, they're very high in acidic load. So as what we talked about a while ago, all of these processed grains are all carbohydrates. So these carbohydrates will be broken down into glucose and will go through the process of glycolysis and will be converted into ATP or energy forms, but it will have a byproduct of acidic compounds that can lead to acidity in the body. Okay, so that is also the reason why, if you really listen closely to your body, the more you eat all of these foods, the thirstier you become. But whenever you are not taking too much food, this is something that I discovered with dry fasting. I realized when I'm not eating food, I actually don't require so much water. Even if I'm not strictly dry fasting, I will just listen to my body. I feel like I only, whenever I'm thirsty, my thirst can actually be quenched by just sips of water, as long as I'm not eating. But the moment I start eating, my need for water is really too much, and that is also because partly your body is telling you that there are a lot of acidic compounds that needs to be neutralized. So your body will tell you that you're thirsty, you have to drink water, and it will go there to wherever area that there's high acidity. It will try to neutralize or wash off those extra acids, and you will urinate them. So that is how amazing our body can do. But we can help our body improve, we can help our body not get exhausted, especially our kidneys, by not taking foods that will make us need more water than what we just supposedly we need on baseline level. Another would be cheese and dairy products. They're also high in phosphorus and can also increase the dietary load. And of course, we know that milk, ice cream, all of these are now sugar loaded, are now sugar laden foods that you can no longer, if you have to drink dairies, you can go on fresh cow's milk, like the ones that really being harvested a day before or yesterday. But once it is packaged, it is no longer. You may want to feel that it's healthy, but actually I can tell you it's really not healthy. But it is yummy, of course. I love milk, but lately we now know that dairies, milk products is actually not that natural when it comes to human diet. Not in that form, because milk is only necessary for children, growing children, maybe for 6 months. But after 6 months old, if it's not coming from the mother's breast milk, the baby can now accommodate real foods. You just need to mash it, you just need to dilute it in such a way that they can swallow it, that they can chew it, to make it soft so they can eat it, they can digest it. But milk, especially all the milk products, the very expensive milk products for say preschoolers, for toddlers, and even for adults, there are now milk products that are designed for adults. We don't actually need them all. If we need calcium, you can just take in calcium, but actually calcium you can just take from the meat products that we eat and from eggs. There are a lot of calcium there, and other nuts and seeds that are more natural. That could be a good source of calcium. But of course, it's a good marketing strategy, and I understand that for mothers it is easier to feed the child milk. But no, just recognize that as long as you feed them milk, you will have somewhat difficulty, or you will have longer time before you make them really want real food. So it will make the process longer, and we understand that real food will actually offer better nutrition. And with better nutrition, the younger they start having it, the better the outcome will be. And of course, the next ones would be the other food products. They're actually somewhat given, like citrus products, the lemon, the grape juice. They are, as I already mentioned this, that these foods can increase acidity, but only in the stomach lining. But it's something that can be neutralized by our stomach. Our body is so amazing that whenever you take in something acidic, it will actually stop secreting something acidic. Instead, it will just secrete more saliva to neutralize that acidity. Just try to imagine. If you have to just imagine and try to think very, very, very seriously how sour a lemon will be, a lemon extract will be, you will realize that your saliva will start pulling. So that's your body actually acting upon it, as if preparing your mouth that something acidic will come out. It will put in a certain kind of saliva. If you can notice, there's two types of saliva. The other one is serous, it's more watery, but the other one, it's mucus, it's thicker. Okay, so that is our body. That's how our body adapts to it, even without us knowing that. So just thinking of something acidic like vinegar or kamyas or green mangoes or lemon will already make your body produce more serous or watery kind of saliva to neutralize that. So that is how amazing our body. That is just one way, a simple way to see that acid-base balance is being kept at normal, is being kept at homeostasis by our body. So all of these foods may be contributory, but largely it may not be that obvious. But technically, the idea is you don't have to eat too much all the time, and most importantly, you have to avoid the carbohydrates, the sugary ones, because they will be the most kind of food that can lead you not just into having an acidic environment in your body, but it can have you other illnesses, that is, for example, insulin resistance, and eventually metabolic syndrome and diabetes, and the complication can go on and on and on. So going back to our live guest here, live audience, Ferdy, good afternoon, watching from Las Piñas City. Thank you. Agnes, my dear, hello. Thank you for your sweet dedication, reading your book now. Thank you, my dearest Agnes. I hope you enjoy the book, and I know, especially book 1, it may sound scary for some, it may sound challenging for some, but I hope you maintain an open mind, because that is the only way that you can really see the beauty and the common sense, the rationality behind it. Why is it something that we can actually apply in our lives? So Marvin said the industrial age was the start of our abnormal eating habits. Yes, industrial age, and comes economy, and it's all mostly profit driven. Of course, from the start, it was just simply to counter famine, to counter starvation, but we went overboard. We were very successful to counter famine, and we were very successful to provide food all year round at a very affordable price, readily available anytime, and they even taste really, really good. However, we failed to realize that this food abundance is something that our body is no longer used to genetically. Our DNA is no longer made for this food abundance. Maybe in the next 2 million years, our body can adapt to that. But as what we are seeing now, our body is actually damaging. It's actually getting damaged. It's getting destroyed by too much food, that what we need now is to consciously limit them, but just be thankful that whenever we want some, whenever we need some, we can get it. But ideally, right now, if you want to live long, if you want to live the healthier way, we can actually be more on the beneficial side. We can actually benefit more from deliberately making our own fasting schedule, mimicking the way our ancestors did it, as if we are still hunters and gatherers trying to look for food. But this time we can maximize them. We can do much more productive things, because we no longer need to hunt, but we can maximize those time, especially the clarity of mind, the focus that you get when you are fasting, to do something more worthwhile, to do something more productive, and something that is more meaningful when it comes to adding value to your life. So Marvin said obesity is another form of inflammation. Yes, and that's why also, that's also one of the reasons why I actually promote incorporation of dry fasting whenever you can. At least 12 to 14 hours of dry fasting in a day. So that is just like an overnight fast, or If you can think of it, if you are sleeping, say for example at 10 in the evening, you can just simply have your last water intake around 8 in the evening. So by 8 in the morning, that's already 12 hours of dry fasting. And then by 10 in the morning, that's already 14 hours of dry fasting. You already provided your kidneys time to relax, and you can see that you will have a more restful sleep, because you no longer need to wake up in the morning, in the middle of the night, just to pee. So you can, if you haven't done dry fasting, if you are scared to do it, you can do it slowly. You can start with 8 hours and then move to 9 hours and then move to 10, 11, 12 until you reach whatever it is that you are now used to. Right now, I'm quite used to doing, since I'm used to fasting for 18 to 19 hours or 18 to 20 hours a day, I usually fast for 16 to 18 hours in a day. So that's my normal dry fast. And I can also do, whenever I do extended fasting, like I fast for 2 days or 3 days, I can incorporate dry fasting on the first 24 hours or the first 40 hours. And it is something that I didn't have any problem with. I realized even that I feel like the first day of fasting is actually quite easier. But it's just that you have to make sure that by the time you refeed, by the time you take in fluids, you have ample of electrolytes that goes with it, or else your body might be on that like a hoarding mode. It will try to hoard more, thinking that it was deprived before. So you might actually have more fluid retention if you don't break your fast properly. So it is important that if you do dry fasting, you make sure that when you break it, you also break it gently. Start with water and then maybe add some salt. And then you have to, when you do eat, you still always go low carb, and you incorporate, you can close it with some electrolytes if your food is not that varied, if the food that you ate is not that nutrient dense. And don't try to avoid all the acidic foods that we mentioned. Mainly what you need to avoid, actually, it's just the carbohydrates, the sugar loaded foods, wherein you can actually benefit more with low carb diet. So Marvin said there are 2 types of dry fast: hard dry fast and soft dry fast. Yes, we mentioned that. Thank you so much for reminding me that. So hard dry fast is no intake of water and even no contact with any form of fluids at all. So for hard dry fast, they usually do it with additional of spiritual reasons, more on when they go into meditation and they feel like their body is responding to it well, for some who do hard dry fasting. But personally, I don't do it, since, you know, as Filipinos, we are so used of taking a bath, of taking a shower, and toothbrushing. I can live without water for up to 3 days. I've dry fasted for 3 days, but I just can't take not having not brushing my teeth or taking a bath. So taking a bath, brushing my teeth, washing my hands, washing my face, and contact with water without drinking them is considered as soft dry fasting. So yes, same with me, Sharon Roldan, I practicing soft dry fasting. Yes, I do that also. So of course, when you're overnight fasting, since you are just lying down there, so you're actually at least having 12 hours or 10 hours of hard dry fast. And then by the time you wake up, by the time you take a bath, you're already into soft dry fasting. So it's up to you, it's up to you what works for you best, and just know the reasons behind it. But most people I know who are practicing dry fasting is not just doing it just for physical healing, but they are doing it for more on emotional and spiritual and some mental healing. I know one who practiced dry fasting, hard dry fasting, whenever he needs to heal because of his anxiety problems, and whenever just things become so overwhelming for him, he feels like hard dry fasting helps him recover faster. So to each his own. Again, I am here. We are all here to share our knowledge, to share our experiences, and hopefully one of you or one of us can get an insight from each other and see and experiment with ourselves which one can work well for us, which one can work best for us. So with Melanie doing 48-hour fast, and I take vitamin C, zinc, calcium while I'm fasting. So all of these are actually not electrolytes, so these are already vitamins and minerals, supplements. When you're just fasting for 48 hours and you feel good, you actually don't need to take them. Mostly we limit as much as you can. You may limit your clean fasting with electrolytes. So sodium, you can get that from salt, and magnesium, you can take magnesium tablets, but there's also what we call as, is it Epsom salt, the ones with magnesium content? We will check. But potassium, even you don't need so much, because once you have adequate sodium intake, your potassium will be spared. You will no longer need to take that. But if you are thinking of going to 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, you might consider adding calcium to that. But normally, you won't need to, because your body will be in automatic self-defending mode. It's on like a hunter mode, and that alone will give you enough immunity, will give you strength, and you may not have much benefit when you take those. Plus, most of these vitamins and minerals are coated or mixed with extenders that may break your fast. Now, it may not be that significant that can break your ketosis, but it may be significant into breaking in your autophagy. So autophagy is more important when it comes to healing, and healing comes with when it comes to healing like inflammation or certain tumors or certain cysts in your body or a certain degree of chronic pain, chronic illness that's been going on. So you can benefit from autophagy from your extended fasting. So if you can, as much as you can, I hope you stay as clean as possible whenever you're fasting. And before you break them, don't go rushing to your pantry. You can break them slowly. Just try to consider, like, instead from transitioning from clean fasting, instead of just eating right then and there, you can transition slowly into like dirty fasting, wherein you can take MCT oil, for example, or you can have those supplements. And then if it's not helping in any way, then maybe that's the time that you can consider adding bone broth, our usual four-step approach, four-step breakfast, some bone broth, and then later on, after an hour or so, or a few minutes or so, you can just add probiotics, and in addition to that, like kimchi, sauerkraut, or plain Greek yogurt. The more unprocessed ones, the better. And you can add some fibers, and lastly, your proteins before your meal. So as Decon, back pain, is that normal? So no, back pain is really not normal. But what you can just see though is investigate what can be the cause of back pain. For others, if you are not overweight, then well and good, that's already ruled out. But for those overweight, chronic back pain is actually a manifestation of too much weight that's been carried by your spine and by your muscles. So you can strengthen your muscles, do some exercises, or it could also be muscle cramps, so you can benefit from stretching exercises. If you can't do full yoga, at least just stretch your arms and legs and twist your hips before you wake up in the morning, before you get up in the morning. You can do it in your bed. As for me, I may forget to stretch all the time, but whenever I saw my dogs stretching, I also do it myself. So you can just imagine our dogs and cats stretching every now and then, and they are responding to their genes, to their instinct, and actually we can benefit from that too. So if you have a pet with you, whenever you see them stretching, you can also stretch yourselves and see how it can benefit you as well. but if it's persistent, and if it's try to see if it has related to your urination or your eating time. Maybe you would like to have it checked. Maybe you would like to have an abdominal ultrasound to check if your gallbladder is okay, if your kidneys are okay, because sometimes kidney stones or gallbladder stones can have a radiating pain, a pain that travels towards the back, even if the cause it's from those organ systems. So, and as always, and as I see you are drinking Alkaline, so that's an adult drink. So calcium can be very beneficial for males and females, especially for females before on premenopausal stage, to prevent osteoporosis. Because once you're already postmenopausal and you're still having not that healthy habits, even if you take calcium, but once you're already postmenopausal, your calcium homeostasis, the capacity of your body to deposit that calcium to your bones, to your spine, will no longer be not that efficient. Okay, so if you like drinking Alkaline, so it's okay. If you continue to drink your milk, your adult milk, that's okay. Just be mindful of their carbohydrate content, and you can add them to your total carbohydrate intake in a day. So as much as possible, we can just limit our carbohydrate intake, and do not take more than 50 grams of carbohydrate, or at least do not eat it at once, those full 50 grams, to avoid insulin spike. Okay, and if you can take in lesser than that, much better. So Vincent, always load up with electrolytes when practicing extended or prolonged fasting. It will help you a lot during the fasting journey. Yes, that is true. That's why whenever I plan to do an extended fasting, like last night, I plan to have, since I know I'll be busy up to this time, because I know I have my clinic open this morning, so I have a consultation this afternoon, and I know I will continue with our live FB episode, Facebook episode, so I know I won't be able to eat until this one is finished. So I loaded up with electrolytes. Maybe you saw my post the other night. Was it the other night? And yes, it indeed made the next days, especially the first 24 hours of fasting, especially dry fasting, a lot easier. So the Sharon, hard dry fast practiced, nasa cave nakatira. Wow! In Aklan, Sharon said there was this healer, no? That was practicing hard dry fast. So it's really good. It's like going back to the basics. It's just that it's not been studied in medical literature, but it doesn't mean it is no longer effective. That is why we consider evolutionary side, because it may not have the actual scientific basis like written in papers, but we have a long history that backs it up. We know, we understand that by nature, it's common sense. We are not built to eat every day. And dry fasting, by experience, actually healed me faster than anything. So Agnes said, I lost a lot of weight back in 2016, 2017. I was 50 kilos because I eat only one meal every day, brunch or lunch. Then black coffee is 5 p.m. onwards. I felt that it's not healthy though. That's actually the wrong idea. It's so sad that even if you feel good about it, but just because the culture and everybody else is dictating you, it's even to a point of ostracizing you, thinking that you are starving yourself. It's the culture. It's especially our parents, the Filipino parents, who like to see their children always eating. And I understand that as parents, they might have this idea that when their children is thin, they feel like they failed at parenting. But I've been telling our mom that please don't ever think that way, especially our dad before. And that's really not a very good gauge of parenting, because even if you like us looking like balls, we feel worse. We don't feel that good in ourselves. And so that's why I wrote this book, actually, to try to correct that culture, that tradition that has no no basis whatsoever when it comes to actual health. So eating 3 times a day is just actually cultural. It's just started with the industrial age, as what Mar Vincent said. With industrial age, people are forced to work on certain times, and they are timed. Their meal times are being timed. So that is the advent of eating before work and then eating in between during breaks and eating right after. But it went into a vicious cycle, and we understand now that it led us to where we are now of chronically battling sugar addiction, food addiction, and of course trying to make our way into having healthier choices. I hope you can try going back into OMAD, Agnes. So OMAD, or 1 meal a day, is actually the best way to go, and it's been practiced by millions worldwide. If you don't believe me, you can try searching on the Facebook. There are a lot of Facebook groups, support groups that has name like 1 meal a day, OMAD for life, and all of those, because it's really something good. And once you practice it, and once you listen closely to yourself and not just listen to what others tell you, you will really see that OMAD can really do you good. So doing low carb will challenge us against going against the norms. Yes, and that is very, very much. And acid drinking VCO, MCT. MCT oil is, remember, VCO, virgin coconut oil, is coconut oil from coconut. So it has a lot of components. There is laurine oil, there is MCT oil, and another parts of oil. Per 100 ml of VCO will have around 55% MCT oil. Okay, so MCT oil is an extracted oil, MCT, from coconut oil. Most MCT oil, because coconut oil is the most natural source, most abundant natural source of MCT oil. So that is also the reason why isolated MCT oil will not have, can be from coconut without the taste of coconut, because they chemically extracted the component of MCT oil only. So they remove the laurine oil. So the laurine oil, usually that's the one that we use for cooking. Okay, so laurine oil. So they are part of coconut oil. So but coconut per se is quite healthy. So if you don't mind the coconut scent, and if you'd also like to get the benefit of the other antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects of virgin coconut oil, you can take virgin coconut oil. But if you don't want that, if you can't tolerate the coconut scent and you'd like the benefit of ketosis only, then you can take MCT oil. So it depends on you, like the energy boost, if you want that. So you can just take the MCT oil. So it's up to you. And Nana is not okay with what I'm doing. Yes, I know, I understand. I hope you can read the book Sharon Roldan when it comes to our way of life, because it's been tackled there, even how to address those people who are concerned for us but is wanting us to stop this way of life. So as you know, if it's not easy for you, how much more for me, who is advocating this against all others, traditional doctors who are not promoting low carb and fasting at all. So Agnes, thank you so much. I'll do it again. I'm also trying to eat only samgyeopsal once or twice a week. That is so nice, as long as it's without rice, and leave no more room for dinner. That is a good strategy. Actually, with you, knowing you, I know you'll do well with it, especially that you are very, very busy. So you make your priorities, you do it, everything, all that you need to do it all at once, and when you have time, that's the time that you eat. And you eat savorly, you eat well, you eat nutritiously, and of course, you eat with your loved one, okay? So that you will enjoy your time. And in no time, I'm sure you will be back to your best self, the one that, because even if you are looking really, really great right now, but if within you, you know you can improve, you know that you are not looking like your ideal self, the one that you really love to see in the mirror, then it's just you. Don't care about others. Don't care what others will say. You try to listen to your body. You try to listen to yourself, and just know that what you are doing is actually something that is evolutionarily more proper than the usual diet that we are now used to. So right now, I am so happy that you are all here. We are now 8 minutes past our 1 hour live episode, yet I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm not sure yet if I eat. I'll have to ask my friend Cherise, because we plan to do an extended fasting together. I'm not sure. We do this from time to time. So I know we don't get pressured from people, but sometimes doing it with people that you love, doing it with people that you have the same wavelength, the same goals, and having the same, it doesn't have anything against with what you do, no ill thoughts about you. It's just fun to do it with others. So I'll ask, thank you so much, Asset, Sharon, Marvincent, and each and everyone. I hope you got something from this video. Until Wednesday, I'll see you again in Youth TV Network. And also, comes Friday, we will go back to Global TV Network, and of course, here in my page. This is your Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Chua Rojo. Always remember, you can fast as long as you can, and if you do eat, I hope you stay low carb so that you will stay safe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.